Hi everyone, it's me, Darlene, in one of my most comfy and old house shirts. Do love house clothes. I am going to do a little bit of crumb quilting. I have my handy dandy crumb quilt box. I just love this box of crumbs. Before I forget, I have, I think, enough blocks made. I have 10 cut that I did with you guys. I have probably 4 or 5 more that I can cut. I might do that at the end of this video. What I'm planning on doing is taking pictures of the blocks that I do have and making a quilt out of those blocks on my computer. I know there's not enough blocks, but I can duplicate some of those and turn them so they look different, just to give us an idea. And I can try doing it with sashing or without sashing. I'm leaning toward no sashing. I'm also leaning toward a different, unconventional way of connecting my pieces. I don't know if I will do it that way yet, but even if I don't, I will show you the way that I have made up in my head. I'm always looking for easy. But anyway, stick around to the end of this video because I will have that quilt for you guys so we can see, just get a rough idea of what I can do with this. My plans are to make a small quilt, but I might show you like a large version just because I'm gonna feel like playing with the software. So that's at the end. What I plan on doing between now and the end of this video is I'm gonna show you a new technique that I kind of sort of just made up. I'm sure things like this exist, but I watch a lot of videos and I don't really see people showing you how to take big pieces and make it look like you started out with small pieces. And that's what I like to experiment with. I like to try to find ways to make something very easy look like it was really difficult and complicated. So I'm going to be showing you that. And then, like I said, I might square up some of my blocks and show those to you. And that might be it for tonight. That is for my mother, double ring. And she picked up. So let's just get started. What I am about to show you is what I consider a very easy way to get a piece started. And it looks like the pieces that you started with were little tiny crumbs. What you need are 4 strips of fabric. 2 can be kind of the same length. They can be on the longer side. Same width if you want. Doesn't have to be the same width. Not too wide, but you don't have to have something super skinny either. Mine are probably like 3/4 or an inch to maybe an inch and a half wide. Then you want 2 other strips. They don't have to be as long. So if you have some shorter strips, put those together. Put 2 longer strips together. We're going to sew the 2 longer strips together. Right sides facing, 1/4 inch or whatever you like to use. Believe it or not, there are no seam allowance rules either. Usually the most important thing about seam allowance is that if you are making blocks where you're trying to match things up, you at least want your seam allowance to be consistent throughout. But with this, it doesn't matter. You can do 1/8 of an inch, you can do 1/2 inch, it does not matter. And you do not need long strips like this. I just build multiple blocks at the same time, so if I'm going to sit here and sew, I make it worth my time. I don't like to do a block at a time. Now take your 2 shorter ones and put those together. And these aren't straight, they're kind of tapered. I'm just matching up one straight edge on this side. I'm going to quickly press those open. Take your 2 shorter strips, the little strip set that you just made. I'm going to just even off the end. I'm going to start with the right end of the piece first, facing up, and we're starting with this edge. I'm going to take this guy, and I'm going to take the selvage off that. So I'm just going to even that up. I am going to put this on here. Now, do you see how I am? This one's going this way, this one's going up and down. Right here, and I'm sewing the first piece right to the edge. So we have the edges matching. I'm just going to sew until I reach the end of the bottom fabric. Like that. Now you can pull your thread and snip if you want, or you can just pull your thread and not snip and just leave your thread hanging. We're going to trim this guy right here. be a little generous to allow for crooked cutting. You're going to take the strip again. You're going to fold this guy back. We're going to be sewing another piece. You want to leave maybe, maybe an inch of space. Do you see here? We're going to fold this one back. This is going to end up being cut. So if you want just a little bit of fabric showing on this side, you would put this guy kind of close. If you want a little bit more showing, kind of far. You're good to leave like maybe an inch showing because you can always trim it if you want later. So let's just say, for the sake of this tutorial, about an inch. So you're just going to lay your piece down about an inch with this open. Don't leave this closed and go an inch away from that. Open this up an inch from that seam. We're going to sew again. I'm just sewing right on the edge of that fabric. I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to trim. So this is what it looks like. I have two pieces that are laying this way, but when I open this one, we see the fabric underneath. Now we're going to open this one. We're going to lay our fabric here. I'm just going to snip this thread because it's getting complicated for me to keep lifting it to show you. So now I'm just moving those out of the way. Lift the flap, lift the flap. And let's put this again. See, I'm making a whole bunch that will be matchy-matchy, but it doesn't have to be the center of a block. These matchy-matchy pieces can go throughout your quilt. And if you want, you can turn your strip in the other direction. Let me just even that up. And it just switches the color combination a little bit. So let's do that. Okay, I'm going to leave like less than an inch because I like my pieces to look like they were really little. And then trim. I'll do it again. Now if you wanted, you don't have to have this strip be all the same. You could have several strips. What I'm saying is this top strip, you could have a whole bunch of those made and alternate. So like maybe a blue and a red would be on top of this, or a green and a pink would be on top of this. It just gives you more combinations. But for the sake of this video, I'm just doing it like this. Now I'm going to push this back. I'm leaving a space. I'm going to sew the next one. Trim. Push this one back. Going to sew the next one. Actually, the easiest way is to kind of like just pull forward. Pull this back. Always remember to pull your fabric back or you'll end up with too much of a space. And I'm going to turn it again just to make it fit better. And this will be our last piece. Now if I want, since I'm sitting right here, I can go ahead and just add other things there. Doesn't even have to be other strips. Like I have just this piece here. So let me just add that. Just that one color. And I think I have room to do it again. Fold this back. One more. Alright, we're going to go press this. I will show you how easy it is. I just lay my strip down and I flip back the first piece and press. Flip back the next piece and press. Flip back the next piece and press. Flip back the next piece and press. Do the same. So now you can kind of like fold them down again. Start at your first one. Lift that guy. We're going to cut just above the seam of the next guy. So I'm going to cut right here. Now see, that has made a little block that has two little pieces going this way and some going that way. So let's do that again. I'm going to flip the next one and cut near the seam of the other one. Flip, cut near this seam. Flip and cut near the seam. And then these little guys are just a 3-patch, and I can cut that wherever I want. So this gives us the beginnings of something very cute. Now, when you have a bunch of these made in different colors using different strips, you can start putting them together, or you can put these together. It doesn't have to be all about 1,000 colors. Like you can put like that. I mean, just any way you want. But let me show you some of my previous ones. For instance, I have this guy. Most of the ones that I made are already put into pieces, but you can just attach them in any direction to each other, or you could, you know, put something different between them and then attach. Let's try putting something different between the pieces. Let me try some of this solid. Let me just put this here, stitch that on. Normally I would put another piece right here, but for the sake of the tutorial, I'm going to save a little bit of time. Let me just trim it like this, not being overly fussy. And let's see. Let's go this way, like that. So I'm going to put it like this. And you can see just how fast that all comes together. And, you know, I like to sometimes just do something like this, but again, I do a lot of chain piecing. Like, I would probably take these guys and put them together somehow, pass them through, take two more, pass them through. Or I'd have a lot of these pieces made and I would mix and match the different color variations. Now I'm going to make 2 strip sets of 3 different colors. Now let's say that I want this inner piece to be very narrow. Again, I don't have to start on the edge. I can move my fabric in if I want it to be more narrow, and I can even move it in and, let's see, slant it. So let's go like this. You see how that turned out? So even though there will be multiple pieces with the same colors, some will have it narrow here and some will be wider down here. So let me put the other 3 together. I'll do that one wonky too. So you can see it's wonky. Narrower, wider. To do that, you just take your strip and instead of going directly on the edge, you turn it a little bit. You twist it. Like, I'm going to show more of the color down here, and you're going to sew on your top fabric. You just follow the line of the fabric that's on top. When little pieces, when they're wonky, once they're in the quilt, it looks like they were such tiny pieces to begin with that you couldn't even sew them straight. That's why they're like crooked. Love that. Here we go again. If you have a shorter strip set, that's the one that goes on the machine because you don't use as much of that one. I'm going to start this way. I'm going to even this off. Lift, pulling toward me. Going to trim this. Pulling it back. You can decide how much you want to show of that other fabric. You can leave a nice big space if you want. Let's see, I'm just gonna go right there. Pull forward. Oh, I like the pulling forward method. And I can do one more. And I'll turn this one this way. I've got threads all over the place. Okay, I'm just going to go and iron like I showed you. I'm just going to take one and flip it back and press. Take the next one, flip it back and press. Take the next one and press. We have all this left that we can do other things with. See, I'm coming back. I'm going to put those back down. I'm going to open up the first one and I'm going to trim near the stitch line. Open up the next one and trim near the stitch line of that one. Open up and then I get to decide where I want to trim here. So now we have pieces with 3 fabrics on each side. Isn't that cool? Then if I wanted, like I could attach one to here. I'm going to do that right now because I like it. And I've got this going on. Do love very much. Okay, that is it for the tutorial part of this video. I'm going to go ahead and trim some of my blocks now. just squared up 7 blocks. I hope the lighting was okay when I showed them to you. I just got to deal with it. I had 10 blocks already done, so I have 17 blocks made already. So I'm going to take pictures of, I don't know, all of them, but I'm going to take some pictures of some of them and just copy and paste and turn them so they look like different blocks. And we'll just see what it looks like on the quilt board. So watch that. I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. This series has been phenomenal for me. Best series I have ever started. It came out of the gate hot and the momentum continues. So I appreciate so much that you watch these videos. Just can't thank you enough. And I'm just having so much fun with it, and I hope you are too. I know a lot of you are at least thinking about doing something with your crumbs. We all save them for one of these days. Today's the day. Thank you so much for watching. I will be back with more soon. Bye!